Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Secure Private Data's channel with encrypted Swiss-hosted email, VPN, and instant messaging. To give us a high-level overview of the company in 2024, along with some news that recently came out in January, we're going to kind of just dive into this with Elaine, the CEO. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Cal. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure to get you on. And I want to really dive into the focus for 2024. But first and foremost, you recently signed a distribution agreement with the UAE here. Do you want to talk about what that distribution agreement's for and what it means for the company?
Yes, so this is our third distribution agreement in the GCC, the Arab Gulf country. They call it the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, which is about 6, 7 countries in the region. What's happening with this one, what's really good is that the distributor is the leading provider of e-gate and immigration and biometric machine and software for the immigration department and other department in the country. They're based in Abu Dhabi, and they just got their first approval to do the e-gate and electronic passport gate in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They're also in Oman. So what's good is that with them, we can basically start in the UAE and also jump into the what we call KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and have potentially a footing in Oman. What's important is that they deal with government. They have the high level approval and clearance to deal with Ministry of Interior, Defense, police, and so forth. And it's the kind of stuff that, we, with the messenger especially, and our secure relay solution, these entities would buy our solution. So the first step was to get boots on the ground, which we have. They will act as a reseller and also as a representative for any contracts that we bring to the table through a partnership with a very powerful United Arab Emirates family member that is going to open doors for us. Now, those could be from SMBs. They have these free zones in the UAE. A free zone is an area, a business and area, basically, with a lot of foreign and non-foreign companies that own 100% of their business. This is kind of how it is over there. When you're in a free zone, it's like you have media free zone, tech free zone, and so forth. These businesses use solutions and they're given internet access and other tools to run their business in their rented office. We could be providing secure solutions to all these free zone businesses. They also have a very big contact in the largest telecom operator in the region. So that's going to be in as well. Now, in that region, typically when you do a government contract, you'd have to put the servers in their country, which we would do. The contracts are typically, if it's like 2 to 5,000 users, we're looking at $2 to $4 million a year US in revenue recurring. So those are sizable. So the first step for us is to launching our enterprise solution, which we are doing this entire quarter. We're rolling out different tools between now and the end of March. And then we will essentially push heavily to organization and enterprises. Whereas until now, we've been pushing to individual users, mostly US, 95% of it. And now we're going to SMB and enterprise, which are basically more money for us per user because the tools are a little bit more expensive. Email for enterprise is $25. For a consumer, it's 7, and so forth. And also there's less churn. Once you get a business, they typically don't leave when they migrate their domain with you. So this UAE deal is very important for us. It may take a few months to get a large deal, but essentially as of let's say around March onward, we are going to push heavily to their network. Could be small business and so forth. So it was good, and there's a need, and it shows because of the global conflict. I mean, you have the Israeli Gaza conflict right there. You got the Houthi rebels that are, heading on these vessels. So the whole region is basically chaotic. There's hacks all the time. Cybersecurity and cyber hacking is one of the new weapon of the war, and that region is extremely prone to that. Last year, the UAE alone thwarted 71 million attacks, cyber attack. So it's prime for growth in our industry, and we're very excited for the long-term aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely appreciate all these insights and just as some anecdotal add-ons for 2024. I mean, this is huge, but is there anything else you're focused on? What else should investors pay attention to? How would you define 2024 for Secure?
Yes, so I'm going to summarize it bullet point. First of all, our budget. First of all, I recommend everybody to go to secureprivatedata.com, our corporate side, and download the FRC analyst report, which basically shows our new budget, our sales expectations, and so forth. But our budget was cut even more than what the analyst mentions. So we plan to cut our budget for this year is about 1.5 million Canadian, about 1.2 million US, close to 1.1. Our sales are expected essentially to increase by default, more user and also a higher paying user at the same time. So that's a huge thing because now we are looking at the profitability tunnel where we can see it coming in the next, let's say, 18 months or sooner, depending on a few things. So the budget cut of 60+% from last year. And at this point, we basically can run the company at those level even a little bit less. So that's a huge thing. I think investors want to see we do have enough cash, etc. So the budget has been slashed tremendously. After Q1, we're stopping all new R&D. The product launches will be done. It's going to be focused heavily on sales. We have a launch in the US with a consumer related type product to 1.2 million followers of this influencers. We've done revenue share. That's another thing this year. We're doing revenue share projects only. We're not going to be paid project to influencers. They're very excited about it. There's an election in the US. I'm sure everybody knows that. We have been approached by, let's just say, the election campaign bodies. We can't really give you too much detail on that, but they're looking at our solution because whether it's the opposite camp or a foreign power or hackers, their emails and messages, which is used on WhatsApp and text, are going to be hacked and compromised even more. It's going to be much bigger than 2020. And now we are ready to offer something different. Just lastly, so 2024 is going to be very big, especially after Q1, when we're done with our rollout and we focus heavily on sales. We also have our new enterprise solution, our secure relay. There was an article a few days ago that the Microsoft executives got hacked by the Russians again. So obviously, they're not impermeable to any hacking. We have a countermeasure where we can sell our solution to a big company. They can keep their user base in Outlook or Gmail if they like. Most companies use Office 365 with Outlook, and we can basically put their C-level executives on secure system with the same domain name. So Secure Relay is very unique. It splits the domain in two. And now we can break that barrier that we had always with those big companies because essentially they always want to stay with Microsoft. So that's a huge thing. Our Messenger enterprise also has a few bells and whistles that are attractive to the financial industry. We're talking to one financial industry broker that could get us, if we get the deal, over 9,000 users alone on one contract. So we're very excited about this year. We're focusing heavily on the sales and more on the business and enterprise side of things. So that's the big highlight. It's going to be a big year for us.
Well, on that note, I'll pass it off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think in that comment section below. And consider subscribing because when news catalysts continue to come down the wire, of course, we'll bring it to you here. But on that note, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.